Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and today I'm doing a video on this library edition of what you saw that was in, I think it was the Essentials, which was black and white. This is the Spider-Man library edition, for Taschen, and this is what it comes in, and it comes out to this huge monster book here, right? Sorry to see my ugly table. All right, so let's see if we can go through. I don't even know. I don't even know how we're gonna do this, but let's see if we can move in a little. Sorry, did see that nonsense. This is just gonna be a page through because this nice, gorgeous stuff printed up. We got it spread out. The title. And the forward. Right, some nice printed images, keeping texture, which is cool, right? We have Ralph Macchio, him doing a article, some nice stuff. I'm guessing it was from Heritage Auctions. We have Ditko, some of the starts to what it came from. Ditko doing this artwork. There's I think this is in Tales of Suspense, but then Spider-Man has his origins from the Spider, and then they already have the Spider-Man, and him doing stuff at Charlton, and Stan talking about how they became a great team, and how they were doing this book, Amazing Adult Fantasy, and Marvel had their first big hit, which was Rawhide Kid. They say in a bit of it has the blueprint for the Spider-Man origin, which meaning Stan is reusing his plots. And then we have Fly, which had a spider-like character, and the Fly himself was actually based on the Silver Spider, right? More original art with Spider-Man. And then, of course, you have it right there. You can see it, the layout being similar, just kind of flopped, where, some of the things are in different positions, but the opposite of what it was there, on the opposite of that. All right. And you see, kind of showing you where Ditko might have gotten his spider figures from. Some more original art. Original art over here. And getting it right up. Doctor Strange was an idea from Ditko. And we have a great page. Spider-Man getting his identity revealed. Another great page. There's a great number of pages from. All right. fans redoing it. Stan article, another great page. Now this would be a great printing for this, right? This is a great usage of the original art and printing it with the paper, which I've been talking about a whole lot. This was kind of cleaned up, but this is done for effect, which is cool, right? Now this is some from the original art pages, so it's not like they're obliterating the original art. So just obviously a reprint of it, but keeping a lot of it. But this paper, the texture is a little different. And then they get here, and this book has sort of a newsprint feel, right? And this is why I have to commend Marvel. Even though Marvel isn't doing it, they're getting with people that are doing different things with the artwork, right? So we get into that texture that was comic books. It's not exactly the same. It's kind of blown up that you can see, but it still kind of works, giving you that comic book feel, right? And closest would get Marvel Tales. But this is even closer now, right? And this is the first story. And a lot of people, which is how you get to, let me go back a little. When you get to stuff like, well, I mean, let's just kind of cover this. I shouldn't get through everything, because this is basically, when I first started seeing these books, like this was like the ultimate character to me. Like, there's nothing at this period when I met Spider-Man that could beat Spider-Man. The only thing that was peeking out was the X-Men, and I only saw one bit of them, and I was liking the Angel character. But at this point, I was totally enamored with Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man in the Electric Company, so it was just like everything that I wanted in the character, right? We had this great cover by Kirby and by Ditko. Ditko would claim this was done first, and this was the design, but Ditko had his own original cover, right? So here, we got a testament to what we're going to see in this character. Now, you would think, okay, this is the classic bookworm, right? But he's not exactly what you would do, what you would see, right? I think more so similar to Amazing Spider-Man, he was just kind of a loner, right? You know, he has the glasses and whatnot. He just was a loner, right? So his family loves him. Mom thinks he's handsome. His Aunt May thinks he's handsome, type of deal, right? And look at this. It is kind of coming up to the girl, not counting, but it's for the umpteenth time he's been asking her out, right? So it's not like he had never, like I think in the Marvel ones, it was like it took him forever, but he had asked her a bunch of times and got turned down a bunch of times, right? And then we see Flash comes around. He's totally forgotten. He's trying to get all the kids to go, and they kind of not with it, right? So he goes to the science thing, and he's the only one of the kids who goes. That's why it's unique. It couldn't be anyone else. It had to be him, because most of them wouldn't even notice what's going on, right? But it was interesting in the movie how the second one, I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man, where they had someone who's already involved in it, right? So he has that, and then they're like, this guy, treating him like he's, doesn't have the stomach for his stuff. But immediately, as you see, even the people in the car, there's a gag that's Stan put in here already. It's like, the people in the car, just because they see with glasses, already call him an egghead, right? And you see him climbing up. This would be another aspect of Marvel where the kids would see this, having the human having that interaction would kind of bring us into the story. So it would be like having another dose, not just snap a car, but just having kids interact with it, right? So they establish basically everything here: climbing walls, strength, right? Moving around like a spider. So he's, got some money issues. So he tests out his thing, and he's able to do some stuff. And they think the gag is great, right? So he kind of makes up some more gags. Roy Thomas would make this gag into into some sort of scientific thing that he had beforehand that didn't work out, and he makes a costume, and here we go. And you see these sort of marks here around his face kind of say, like, I think Byrne had used them from time to time. Obviously, who's that guy? It's talking about Amazing changing his format. Talks about Spider-Man with the hyphen, right? And if you like it, they'll put 2 issues of Spider-Man in one book, right? So they're trying to sell you on the new Amazing. So I think his story on it is that Martin Goodman didn't like it and he just tossed it in here. But here's a sell to the fans right here saying, if you like Spider-Man, we'll put it 2 per issue, which they did, right? So here we have him doing his TV thing. They'll be begging for more, right? We had this great bit where the criminal comes in there. He doesn't even pay any attention. And he didn't know what was going on, but at the same time, he's looking out for himself, right? And then his family gets him some stuff. And he's so happy. He's in a very positive place. And here, he becomes a TV sensation. So this is where he really learns and hones his power. This is kind of the difference between what Byrne liked and what Kurt Busiek. Kurt Busiek's like, how did he learn how to use his power? So he did his Amazing Fantasy 16, 17, 18. Byrne was like, hey, he was a TV star. That's where he got his chops and learned how to do stuff, right? So we had the raw motion here. Kind of the old school Ditko from Atlas to this new one with these wide shots, right? So most of the time we'd see this in this dynamic of, people here and less so on the wide shots. But Ditko would bring in different angles, where the people always say it's crude. On this small little bit of stuff, he's adding so much stuff to this thing, right? And of course, it catches up to the guy and realizes it's the guy he let pass by. And that's a little more realism, less Ditko in the face type of thing. And then comes that line, with great power, there must also come great responsibility, right? So you got that. So one of the things, I don't even know. I could be lost in this. I could have you guys in here with me doing this stuff for like months. So, and ultimately, I have these articles, right? Where do I put them? Guess they're right here, right? I have these articles, the comics. Ditko talks about these spider kind of poses. Stan was worried about the comic code having an issue with it. And here, they kind of truncated the Spider-Man origin. So while he was busy showing off, the guy came to the house, right? And then he could steal the money, but then go to jail, right? And here we kind of hint that Liz is kind of trying to get Peter into it, but gives him kind of the cold shoulder. And this is the dynamic of who is it? J. Jonah Jameson with the Spider-Man, right? He doesn't like Spider-Man, but he's talking about real heroes. It's all established here, but then later they do an emotional moment where we show you supposedly why when they said it right here. Doesn't like mass lawmen. He likes real heroes like his son, who's an astronaut. Right? And he has trouble. And Ditko talks about this is a little too fantastic for Spider-Man, but you know, they just move forward. Right? You don't know how happy I am to have this book here, right? But this is like 20 issues of Spider-Man. And when I had the essentials, I read through them and it was almost like real life for me. Some of the things were a little too close to home. And you start to see go from the teardrop eyes to the bigger eyes, and the Fantastic Four shows up, right? And this was a story where they kind of kills Spider-Man's career, where Spider-Man gives up trying to get trying to get money. And I'm going to be here all day doing this, all day. Let's try to do the splash pages, right? Terrible Tinkerer. Doc Octopus. And some of these interior splash pages are pretty dynamic. Pin up. Sandman. You see the angles that he's drawing in here and going from the Atlas type of thing, which was pretty much straightforward, to add a little more perspective to his work. Right? Then we got Dr. Doom. I definitely recommend it. Here, this was the book that Martin Goodman supposedly requested, and he had asked, could you do a war book like the Fantastic Four? And he said, first, Fantastic Four. Now, in an inimitable style, the same writing artist, another group of fabulous characters, right? And the Fantastic Four was originally called the Fabulous Four, right? Marvel Age of Comics, you know, it's the only Marvel Comics group could do it, right? So you get this thing of selling it like it's the superheroes, right? The Lizard, and this would be the first character that was stronger than Spider-Man, which is clearly forgotten because obviously Spider-Man is a teenager and they keep allowing him to get stronger. We got Betty here, who's secretary, but not too much older than him, right? But she had to go to work instead of going to college. Cat's first appearance in the Marvel Age, which is a fake Cat, possibly tryout. Now the Vulture, this would be 19 minutes in. So I'm trying not to go over 30, right? So this is one of my favorite books ever. Like this book here, I think I had it Marvel Tales. It's just one of the best books, all right? And it shows you how Spider-Man stopped the Vulture, and the Vulture still has his ability and puts it together again, and just like he just escapes, Spider-Man's going after him. All right, he gets geared up. When he used his thing on him again to mess up the Vulture, he says, "Perfect. He can't travel as quickly as I." You know, so this is a great part. The Spider-Man's fast, but the Vulture can move faster, right? Which is totally forgotten, right? He takes out Spider-Man and drops him, doesn't let him, and Spider-Man drops to the floor and his arm is broken, so he's human, right? So at that point, he has a broken arm, and then his people at school, they make fun of him. I've been here with this, well, graphically I'm a dummy, because my brother inadvertently had hit me in the mouth with the forearm by just kind of moving back, and I decided not to beat him up. I just was so upset I lost a tooth or broke a tooth, so I had to go in, and I wasn't dumb enough to say I just fell. I told the truth, and then it was just, that's what happened, right? And then you get this sort of thing here where she asks for the truth, what happened to his arm, and she tries to say this panel here is one of the best. So he's really getting connected with and the Vulture has a better idea. Just come and taking pictures of me. I'll come in and take the money right here. Spider-Man goes in, he's gonna fight with his broken arm, right? Spider-Man gets in there. Let me get this great bit here, all right? And we have the Vulture in a closed setting. Spider-Man is just making a mess of everything. It's just like a brilliant issue, right? Look at the printing presses, Spider-Man doing everything. He gets his arm hurt again. Right? And utilizing Spider Sense. But see, it's not a cure-all. It's not like Spider, Ninja, right? Spider-Man webs him up and catches him, right? And now the public, and this other part is the public seeing the reaction. And this is the one thing that kind of made Marvel real, constantly having the public see that, right? So Spider-Man has this argument with J. Jonah Jameson, and he was on the face. And Peter Parker comes out, and we had this tender moment with him and Betty, which was a very emotional point for me, right? I was like, wow. And he gives a tell. He says how long the webs will last. All right, so I think I got one of my favorite issues in. Got one of my, this art wise, I really want a library edition of the original X-Men, but we'll see what happens. Oh, this was a good one. Oh man, that's a really good one. I could be here all day, right? Electro, goodness. Like, look at all this comics that you're getting from this thing, right? If you don't, the Enforcers, I do not know why Marvel made Spider-Man so powerful that these guys get nixed, right? Because like if you see the the Kingsman, the second movie, kind of has like Enforcers. They got a guy with a lasso who's doing all this cool stuff. This guy was doing karate, right? So this was this Fancy Dan. Which one was Fancy Dan? Right? Obviously, we know who Ox is and the big man. But Let me make sure. Yeah, that's Fancy Dan, right? He does karate in Montana, right? Montana has the rope. So having a guy with karate kind of even out with Spider-Man's power is always fun. Dr. Octopus is always a great villain. Um, just the one, oh man. Another good issue of the X-Men. And this, they showed you, and this is another thing that people don't forget, that Marvel took the Secret Identity and they played around with it. And that's one of the things that gets lost in these current crop of movies, that Marvel kind of said, hey, we can do some different things. And this hints on the idea Spider-Man. Here's Black Widow's first appearance. All right. Mysterio's another great issue. Like, it's just all gold. Every issue is gold in this, right? But we get to here. So this one I can't escape because it has the Hulk. It has the Green Goblin, right? And this one, Ditko said he changed because it was supposed to be a demon in a Egyptian sarcophagus that Spider-Man found, and he made him into a character who, was sort of grounded, right? And they set up the Green Goblin. He sets up the money for this. This is the dynamic of how Spider-Man spins his webs, right? So, in my mind, he doesn't just start from ground level. He kind of, propels himself out, which he could also do by jumping, and then starts to spin his web. So he's not starting from the ground, which would mean that he would kind of just rub against the floor, right? So Ditko had a good science to how this worked, at least to make it a little bit believable, right? And you see, he's already gone from the early Ditko type stuff. What you see is similar to this panel, but the characters are really kind of coming alive in the angles and such, right? In this time of working at Marvel and working with Spider-Man, doing so much more to it, right? And see, putting these guys together against Spider-Man would give you enough to say, all right, so Spider-Man can feel this punch, right? But at the same time, they have kind of the ability to work together, be able to, cause Spider-Man some trouble, right? And Spider-Man, instead of taking them on head on, separates them and starts taking them apart, which is a bit which a lot of people forgot, right? And here we have Liz Allen, who's changing from, and this might be from Peter Parker duking it out with what's the name, but she's slowly starting to fancy him, right? So, like any classic story, the Hulk pops out of nowhere, and this is one which I think they should have never forgotten. Spider-Man's taking on the Hulk. His webs don't work, right? Punches him. None of that work. He's not holding back, right? His hand is hurting. So if he hit him harder, his hand would hurt more. It's just basic, right? So Spider-Man even has to hide to get out of here. So, all right? And we got spider-like poses before, who was it? Todd McFarlane, right? Let me see. Who is the Green Goblin? Right? And this is another bit which Ditko said it wasn't nobody. He didn't plan on that. This is another great one. Can't escape it. All right. I mean, Daredevil, who I think Stan wanted Ditko to do, right? Draw the Daredevil. And then we got Spider-Man, thinking Spider-Man kind of is one of the reasons. Human Torch. Human Torch is the reason why Spider-Man stayed. A lot of people look at Spider-Man, Human Torch being a jerk, and Spider-Man being great, but you have to remember, Spider-Man crashed a Human Torch party, which he wasn't invited to, and the Human Torch is the one who kind of inspires Spider-Man to keep going. I think I should show that, but I went too far, didn't I? Let's see. Dr. Ock, yeah, the Human Torch. But sorry to say, Spider-Man in this issue, Spider-Man gets beat by Dr. Octopus, and then we have the Torch speaking at the school. Now, most of the time, people will say, "Oh, he did this joke about the thing. What a jerk!" But here we have Peter Parker being inspired by the Torch, right? So he's not just a blowhard, right? And he's one of the few that believe in Spider-Man when Spider-Man has to duck under. He's worried about Aunt May, right? So this is and this cover, good Lord. Like, it doesn't even get better than this, right? So right now, we're coming to the tail end of our video. Spider-Man, this image was used a lot in the cartoon. He strikes back and ends the issue with the greatest annual ever, right? And I should go through it, but I'm at the 30-minute mark, so I'm just going to give you some of the stuff at the end. I always thought that this issue had the formula for let's just go through these the so-called secrets of Spider-Man. All right, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to give you a showcase of everything we've seen that's in this book. All right, so that's too good to go past. All right. So we have the burglar, the chameleon. I think is it in name order? Dr. Octopus, Sandman. Nope, Dr. Doom, the Lizard, the Living Brain, Machine versus Spider-Man, the Enforcers, Stereo, Green Goblin. And then this, I thought they would give us the formula so we can make our own webs, but for some reason it's not in here. Showing you how, well, this is hinted that he'd be as strong as those guys, which makes no sense, but everyone was asking, why isn't he as strong as those guys? And then we got this nice shot here of him moving. And kind of, he's also a big fan of Mort Meskin. Kind of did the multiple shots here and describes how it works, but doesn't have the actual formula. All right? But as kids, we were all looking for this, where they explain, and then they also explain how Spider Sense works, and how that's all the idiot college kids who thought people could see this. No one can see this stuff. All right? And then elements of Spider-Man's costume. His job. His classmates. His house. Guest stars, and how he was created. Stan has an idea, calls up Ditko with the plot puts it together, finishes it, inks it. Stan has another idea. All right, we get to the history, and I don't think there's much in here after that. You got this, people would like to show the original title. And then they have, this is from, I think, the Library of Congress. The original Spider-Man pages of his origin, right? So it's like a must to have, right? Like, you can't, like, come on, look at this. So there you go. Library edition. Ooh, stay over there, you. And I guess that's it. Spinner rack is out.